to J&J Reacts, and we got something new for y'all today.
You did.
We got a review for the Deadpool and Wolverine movie. We just first one. We just came from the theater, so it's fresh on our minds.
Yes, sir.
And we just want give our take and let y'all know how we feel about it. So this is how we gonna structure it. The first thing we finna do right now, we gonna give y'all what we had impressions of like when we before going in to see it.
Yeah.
Then we're gonna structure it of our highlights, and we're gonna give you some good,
spoiler
and we're gonna give you
spoiler
review, and we're gonna give y'all the bad. So that's how we're gonna kind of like have it orchestrated so far, like how we're gonna do it. So first we're gonna start off our first impressions before seeing it, like what we had expectations for. So you wanna take it off?
Yeah, like coming into the movie, bro, based off of shit online and like the trailers and all that. They really sold this movie as like Deadpool was finna fuck with the Avengers type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like he was gonna be on some like going into the MCU and you know kind of like they kind of gave this aura that like the movie was gonna be about Deadpool running through the MCU. You know, maybe changing big events that happened before, or he was gonna be you know basically a Deadpool Wolverine. Avengers type movie. It had nothing to do with the Avengers. Like the Avengers was just like a side motivation for him. But that was really it. It wasn't even no big motivation. It was really like a conversation, bro. The Avengers had nothing to do with this movie. Like the MCU, none of that stuff had anything to do with this shit, bro.
Other than really pretty much cameos and shit.
Not barely even that. There was barely any like MCU cameos. It probably was like
I'm saying cameos are meaning like you're mentioning it. Like you never seen an X-Men movie mention the Avengers as many times as they did in this movie. Like the whole beginning part, this nigga was like,
fact. Like they kept saying Avengers, but it's like the nigga never got around none of them niggas. He never met an Avenger. He just was talking about the niggas in the fourth wall sense of breaking the fourth wall sense. But I mean, yeah, it was smooth, but I like the direction that it went into more than like it shifted my expectations. So it was like it broke all expectations in the sense of like, okay, y'all on some whole other shit. Fuck the Avengers. We bringing Fox niggas in. So this movie was pretty much like a farewell to the old Fox movie. Any Fox property, it was a farewell to all that. Like pretty much, you know what I'm saying? What was you thinking about it?
When I first had, cause I didn't really watch too much of like any behind the scenes or anything that was going towards the movie, like costumes or all that stuff. So I pretty much was just going off of trailers. So just looking at the trailers and stuff like that. Seeing like that the Fox like the part of the trailer where you just see like the Fox Central shit in the desert or whatever. So seeing that, I always was thinking like, oh, this is like a little like a farewell type thing. So I'm thinking like we're gonna see Fox characters. So like I really didn't have expectations of the Avengers and stuff because I always just think about it in the sense of like if anyone we might have seen would have been Tony Stark because he was messing with Tom, so I could have thought that was a thing. But then when I was thinking like, could they put Thor in it? I'm like, Love and Thunder just came out. I don't think Thor is big enough for people to be like, oh snap. And then Hulk is a property where you really don't see it being used in other different things. Then I was thinking, you got Captain America, and that could play and work. But then you have to think too, they got Sam. So I'm like, you can't really try to promote the OG over the new one y'all trying to have in. So I really didn't think too much about like the Avengers playing too much. I really thought it was going to be more of just like X-Men type vibe where they were just going to try to tie somehow the X-Men into the Marvel Universe. Because my first impressions of really was thinking that they were going to do something where Deadpool was going to mess up a timeline and it was going to merge something where the X-Men and the Avengers were going to know. Like I thought it was going to be something like that, but it wasn't. So again, that was like my first impression before going into it, thinking that what was going to happen type shit. So all right, so that's it for you on that.
On impressions, we're probably impressions.
All right, so now we're gonna go into our let's do our highlights. So what are some highlighting moments?
Whole lot of F-bombs, nigga. Whole lot of fuck this, fuck that, shut the fuck up. All type of F-bombs, like for real. Like they couldn't wait on this movie, bro. Them two, especially Wolverine. Like even in Logan was R-rated, but bro. They was saying fuck like every fucking every 5 minutes. The exchange between Deadpool and Wolverine was great, bro. No cap, like the relationship. It wasn't just a team up movie. These niggas, once again, spoiler. This is a spoiler review. These niggas was fucking fighting each other to the damn death, and neither one of these niggas can die. That was the best part about their relationship, bro. Cause it's like Deadpool can't die, Wolverine can't die. These niggas, and they didn't fight one time; they fought twice. And these and the fight between them was great. The second fight was I like the second fight.
It was so comedic and it was
fun.
It
was like them niggas was like in a car. Imagine getting into a knife fight with another nigga. We sitting next to each other. We just getting a knife fight.
Yeah, it's basically like when you see those videos of them niggas being in a phone booth and they be like, turn around, fight. It was like literally that, but in a car with these two niggas. So that shit was.
This movie was a bloodbath too.
Yeah.
Like I thought the other Deadpool movie was a bloodbath, but this shit, nigga, just Wolverine and Deadpool fighting alone was super bloodbath. Like dead ass. I'm telling you, wait till that. If y'all ain't seen it, wait till you get to that scene where they fight in the car, bro. Yeah. That was a great scene right there.
Some of my big surprises that I came in. I'm not gonna say my biggest one until maybe later when we start talking about our goods. But one of my biggest surprises is just seeing was really the how the movie was formatted. So going with Marvel, you're so used to like a cinematic, like A goes to B, goes to C, goes to D. And this movie kind of had that, but even when it put you in those moments, they switched it. Like it wasn't no sense where you was like, oh yeah, they're gonna do the one you're knowing that they're gonna go with. Like nah, they switched it. So it was like a couple scenes where just like they kind of had that play where you think that the obvious was going to go down and they didn't. And I really kind of like that pull because it made it feel just like you didn't know what up. It didn't feel formulaic. And then it had a cartoon element throughout the whole movie because it was like what they try to do with Love and Thunder, what makes a comedic element with having serious tones. It really didn't work in it because I feel like if you know from the trailer, the main villain is Xavier's sister. So like with her, even though what she can do, like what she was somebody doing, like was kind of comedic, like putting her hand in their heads and all that.
That
you could feel like, no, that shit's serious. Like nah,
she had the nigga. Like that's your hand coming out your face, but it's like made into your face. Like
yeah, it was just like that shit was serious. And then again, the whole movie was played off of serious elements, but with Deadpool, you just
it's like he downgraded the seriousness, but it's like his comedy of it. It still kept it in place though. It's like imagine having a real conversation with a nigga and he just stopped and break off and talk to the fucking camera. But it made perfect sense. Like it never fucked up the plot.
And then Disney, I can give them quotes on this too, and that was probably like a surprise for me also, is that like they let this nigga run with it. Like he was making fun of them a lot about just talking about the current state of the MCU. Yeah, like he said one thing to Logan, he was like, "Man, I'm sorry that you're here when they're at this point right now." Like
he said, you kind of came in at a low point.
Yeah, the low point type shit.
Because they made this movie pretty quick. This movie wasn't supposed to come out. They made this movie fast. Like they probably made this movie like less than like it wasn't even a full 12 months ago, bro. So it's like they had recent information in this movie that like it's like damn, like nigga, that shit just happened. Like they was fast with this with the fourth wall breaking. I guess you could say that.
Yeah, so it was real cool just seeing that where like he was basically just added in on like, yo, Marvel is not doing so. That's why I'm here on Marvel Jesus, goddammit. Like I'm here to save the property. Like, and it was cool that he was really just having that like caveat and saying it throughout. Like it wasn't really saying it one time thing. It wasn't like just the beginning where he says his monologue. Like he was really monologue. He probably monologued the most in this movie compared to Deadpool 1 and 2. Like usually it's only like in the beginning when he's doing the retrospect, especially in Deadpool 1, where they could take you back, and they did in this one too, which was like a cool element because they didn't do that in the second one. And I felt like the Deadpool 1 really had more like touching, like it was more like organic compared to Deadpool 2, where it felt more of that MCU formatic play. So it was just like they kind of did both in this movie, where they gave you the same cameos, but they gave you a heartfelt moment that Deadpool 1 had. So it was pretty cool that they kind of like tied those in together, and then seeing it where you really could see like when the story was like really picking up, it just didn't die. Like that, it didn't die. It just kept you like, all right, boom, and then every part, even when you get to the scenes where it's just Deadpool, Wolverine, and it's like, all right, getting quiet, like you still was just like, nah, this is something's gonna get said that you're gonna be interested in. Like something's gonna get said. So those were like the surprising moments to me with the movie, where it just like they didn't do what you thought they were gonna do. Like in the sense of just keeping it formulated, they didn't kind of go that route.
So what you feel like your favorite parts of the movie was?
My favorite parts of the movie were basically really the cameos. This movie
Yeah.
has so
Great
many
cameos.
great
Great
cameos.
cameos.
My favorite one was Blade because that one was probably
This
the
nigga
most.
Wesley Snipes walked out, y'all.
That was probably the most.
When I seen Blade, I was like, oh shit, they brought this nigga Wesley out.
That was probably the most
Oh.
left fielded cameo I could have ever like thought
Electra?
of.
Come on now.
Just because, to me, the reason why that cameo is just crazy because I think more of this the outside perspective more than just what could be shown in the movie. So I'm like, Wesley Snipes, like, what the fuck are you doing in a Marvel movie? Like, that to me was more in my head, like.
But the crazy thing, when I was growing up, I didn't know Blade was a Marvel character. But now that I think about it, Blade was in the Spider-Man cartoon. Because if y'all remember Spider-Man 97, not even say Spider-Man 97, but you know that's the original Spider-Man cartoon that came out late 90s. He used to fight a vampire, and Blade was in that shit, and I forgot. But like when I seen Wesley Snipes walk out there, I was like, oh shit, this nigga Wesley in this bitch, bro. And then what you done? What you saying?
Nah, you can go, Joe.
I was about to say another cameo I really liked was Channing Tatum as Gambit. Because a lot of people don't know. It's like public knowledge. It's like, it ain't nothing a secret. But they actually started making a Gambit movie for Channing Tatum. So it was kind of interesting to see. You know, they canceled it and shit. But it was kind of interesting to see like what his character would have been. Because that movie went into full production and everything. They shut that shit down, bro.
It's
so
like how they did the thing, but the Flash movie when they had what Superman was it? They had
Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage. Superman.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage. Yeah, they had a Superman, Nicolas Cage. They gave him test footage. They gave him a suit. They did all that for Nicolas Cage, and they shut that shit down. So it's like it was nice to see what his character would have been. And it's like, especially his portrayal, because I was like, subconsciously, I was comparing him to the other one in X-Men Origins, but it was like, yeah, it's like this Channing Tatum was way better than that one. Like, I mean, this game was way better. Just his combat alone was cool as fuck. I ain't even count.
Yeah,
but I couldn't understand that nigga. Like, he was using like some type of deep ass accent. I was like, bro, I don't know if this supposed to be a New Orleans accent because I think Gambit is from New Orleans, but that accent was throwing me off. But the thing about the accent is that it was a fucking joke. Like, it was dead as a joke in the movie. The nigga was like, talking. Nigga was like, what are you talking about?
He said this is the plan.
Yeah.
Like, that shit was good. And then, you know, they also put in X20.
Yeah, X23.
X23 in there. So it was cool seeing her and just being like, okay. And then it was a cool thing, too, at the end of the movie, out of all of, what's the other ones they added? They added Blade, Gambit, X23. And what was the girl? Cause I didn't even recognize her when I said
what girl?
The woman that they had. It was like, what was her name?
With the nails?
No, the other one.
Like
the first one. She the first one that walked out.
On what? Electra?
Yeah, Electra.
Oh, yeah.
And goddamn, they had Electra.
Yeah, niggas don't know about Electra, Jennifer Gardner. Niggas don't know about that one. She was in the Daredevil movie.
See, I wasn't in.
But I think she had her own movie. No, she had her own movie too. She had her own movie,
but yeah, they had them there. But at the end of when they show like Deadpool with his family and all his friends, they only show X23.
Yeah.
So something could be used for her.
And then they had Chris Evans. They had Chris Evans as fucking Human Torch.
Yeah, back in the day with Fantastic Four, they show.
I didn't expect that.
It's cool too because they show like the new Fantastic Four and the old, but I don't think they really show any representation other than just video shit of the old.
What you mean?
The Fantastic Four, because they didn't do nothing, so they didn't have really a villain or anything. And
you talking about the Michael B. Jordan Fantastic Four? Yeah, that shit was trash, bro. They didn't really.
They only show like videos just to show that it was a Fox property, but they didn't really have nothing outside.
Wasn't in the show, shit.
Yeah, it really wasn't. So yeah, it was cool seeing because it's funny. It's because Deadpool said something funny too when they first showed him. They were just like. Chris Evans popped up and he was like, "Oh, he's gonna say it.
Yeah,
he's gonna say it." And he was like, "Flame on!" He was like, "What the fuck?" Like that shit was funny because I did not expect that.
I didn't expect him to be in the movie at all.
I didn't know it wasn't even. I didn't expect him to be in the movie, but I did not expect Flame on, bro. Like I literally,
I thought he was gonna be a Captain
They had
America
his shit covered, and Fantastic Four wears a blue suit, so you thinking he wearing his same little blue Captain America geek type shit, and that nigga goddamn took that bitch and said Flame on. That shit was hard, bro.
Oh shit! I'm like, that's fine.
And then the way he played, like seeing Chris Evans play that comedic role, and it was being funny the way he went out. And then they show if you wait till the end of the movie, and then after credits stands, and then you seeing how he was like going off and riffing, like that shit was hilarious because you don't see Chris Evans ever playing that other than when he did play. Yeah, because you forget that because you just see him as Captain America.
Chris Evans started out kind of a comedic type of person, bro. Like if you watch his early movies, prior to anything superhero, he was a pretty funny nigga, bro.
Yeah.
Especially them old parody, like late.
Like he was like he reminded me. He was like a handsome Adam Sandler. Like the way, like you could have that same comedic, but like the way they play in movies back then, like it kind of was the same. It was just he was a pretty boy, like comedic value.
Yeah, his comedic value.
Like he was he was just like Ryan Reynolds. Like how Ryan Reynolds, Channing Tatum, like them three were like the same type shit. But then when he did the Captain America role, it kind of made him like a serious tone.
He turned serious after he hit Captain America.
Goddamn. So let's get into those. We're pretty much got it good. Let's start talking about, you got any bads?
The only bad I can say is that there is somewhat of a confusion of timelines in the movie.
And that's all with X-Men movies, so it can't just be geared towards this. Because when we was on the way talking about it, or like coming back talking about it, and I was kind of saying things out loud like, yo, didn't in Apocalypse this happen, in Dark Phoenix, and this, and then this don't, like, how does this don't make sense?
Certain things didn't add up when you sat there and really thought about it. But I mean, I guess it's a movie, so it's
you just gotta go with it. You
gotta go with what the movie's doing.
And then they gave you a bunch of fan service that I'm very grateful that they were for, because that shit was very good. Like it was very, and then the comedic value throughout the movie was pretty on the part with it. But that would be a bad is that it kind of was just like you have to go for what the movie was telling you, because when you actually try to put it in the Fox sense, and since Fox did kind of a terrible job of their timeline, you was just like, yo, this kind of doesn't really make any sense, because the same.
My bad, cut you off, but I couldn't tell what Wolverine belongs to Deadpool, because if you watch the trailers and you coming into the movie, your expectation of coming into the movie is that the Wolverine that belongs to Deadpool's universe is Logan, because he describes Logan as like, okay, when he's talking to the Wolverine in the movie, and Wolverine's asking him, okay, tell me about your Wolverine. He was like, oh yeah, my Wolverine, woo, woo, woo. And he's describing Logan. So it's like, but the shit don't add up, because if you pay attention to everything, it's like it kind of don't make sense for Logan to belong to that specific universe of Deadpool. So that's what my main confusion was. That was like, what X-Men belong to this Deadpool? But then he explained something. He was like, I don't even think. Say what you were saying.
So basically, how it's kind of put in like the timelines and stuff like that.
The timelines fuck that shit up, bro.
It makes sense, because again, if you go from Days of Future Past, goddamn Wolverine brought back everybody that was from the X-Men 1, 2, and 3. And so he brought that everybody back. So when you go into that one, so boom, after that is Apocalypse. So in Apocalypse, that is supposed to be of the past timeline of like where, Charles Xavier and all them and stuff at. In that movie, Wolverine gets let loose like how it was in the X-Men Origins movie. Wolverine Origins movie type shit. So it's like he got let free, so then you realize.
But them movie. But what's the name of Days of Future Past rewrites Origins though, so that Origins is canceled out after Days of Future Past.
Yeah, but again, you still can catch him the same scene, because the same thing happens. He was trapped, and that's when he gets the antimadium clause. But Jean lets him free in that movie in Apocalypse Apocalypse. Or Dark Phoenix.
Days of Future Past.
No, it wasn't that one. It was either Apocalypse or it was either Apocalypse or Dark Phoenix that they let him. I think it was Apocalypse.
Wait, how many was it? Was it 4? It's First Class, Days of Future Past, Apocalypse,
and Dark Phoenix.
Oh, it was the 4th one.
Dark Phoenix is the one that she let him out.
Okay,
and so,
I completely forgot about Dark
She let him out type shit. And then again, like when you go for the Deadpool timeline, he's in the same timeline as the young era. So in that era, he would have still been alive, and none of those X-Men adventures would have happened yet, because they still would have been young. So it didn't kind of make sense in that kind of timeline, because it's like when even they showed the cameo in Deadpool 2, and he was like, oh, I guess Fox couldn't hire any other X-Men or whatever, or show any other X-Men. It was the same group from the young star, because Quicksilver was in that same group. So that's why it kind of wouldn't make sense when you think about like what Wolverine is this and all that. But to me, I got the idea that when he got took to the TVA, he was explaining to him the best Wolverine out of all the timelines. Like that Logan, the one from Logan is the best one, and that one from Logan is the origin from X-Men 1, 2, 3, and from what we know of. So that to me was like why they were trying to portray. And so when when even Deadpool went to the other timelines to find that, he
That was
was
a great
basically
sequence,
telling him like, bro, you think you could just replace him and it be the same? He was like, no, he was the real one. And then that's why the origin story for the Wolverine that we got was for him to become that great one, to become like, now when people watch the Deadpool and Wolverine movie, they look at it like, no, that Wolverine's him too. Like, you can compare him as the same because he did that great thing and he's still alive. So I feel like that's kind of, you have to go with it, like just with your head canon of being like, I'm grateful for the fan service. I'm grateful that movie is alive, because
it all made sense in the end.
Again, for common sense, if you watch Disney XD and you watch them do the Marvel shit, bro, there's hella times, or you watch any of those Marvel movies, especially the one with Hulk, Deadpool, and Wolverine, because if he said the reference like in one of the scenes, he's like, hey, wasn't that the outfit you wore? It's a movie, an animated movie of when they did that. And that movie is fire as fuck. If you haven't watched it, go see that shit. But Deadpool and Wolverine always have these button heads, and when they fight each other, they always have these like type of little things. So don't actually put it for live action. To me, I'm looking at this shit as a kid like, yo, I seen this on like Disney XD. I seen the movies, I seen it animated, but it's crazy that they actually finally did it. And then again, when they try to do it with the X-Men Origins, it just wasn't like the way you want to see Deadpool and Wolverine fight. So for them to actually have it in this movie and they fought twice, it's just like, yes, bro. Like, as a fan, you really would just love this movie because they really did some shit which you really didn't think. Like, if they had Spider-Man in this shit, could they all be having this like butter of going against each other? Because Wolverine and Spider-Man have great ties too. So like, when they can play that out as well, like, bro, you just, bro, it's a lot can happen. And then again, one thing about this movie that they showed, that they didn't give you the typical, oh, this is it, Wolverine's dead, Deadpool. Like, nah, they left a little room.
They left him out there.
So to let you know, like,
happen.
you know, some shit can go down.
But it don't got nothing to do with the MCU. So moving forward, we're going to have to wait until, like, the next Avengers movie, when they break down like realities and shit like that, to see any type of X-Men, Avengers, anything. So don't go into this movie thinking that it's got anything to do with the Avengers.
The floor.
No, it don't got nothing to do with X-Men.
He's still in
Avengers.
his same world.
Yeah, he stayed in his same world. He never met
there's
the
a
Avengers.
reference to Avengers in his world, though. But it's not the Avengers we know of.
Yeah. So yeah.
But it's the same characters, like same actors.
And one more thing I'm probably gonna say, because the camera about to die. But the variants, when they had the Wolverine variants, that was real nice to see all these different types of Wolverines.
Yeah, it made me go,
because they had Henry Cavill, because he was up for casting. I think I want to say he was up for casting on some MCU shit. I think that's just some online shit. But I enjoyed seeing Henry Cavill as Wolverine. I enjoyed seeing all the variants. He was
literally saying that like, we're gonna do you better, like, because how DC they like they, bro. The fourth wall was a great.
Fourth wall was destroyed in this movie. He was killing that shit. Super destroyed.
Killing that shit. Well, too, one thing about it bad. I wish that, even though it's like a little nitpick, I wish they did fight like a real villain that they could go back and forth with, that could do some highlights. But they did a lot of highlights between them and just them fighting groups of people.
Yeah,
but I wish
that was great.
But again, the person they were firing, you can't beat her. Like,
yeah, they had to beat
Xavier's sister. Like,
yeah,
bro, she's an Omega level. Yeah, she's an Omega level mutant. Like,
yeah,
you're not really stopping that. So.
I enjoyed the fact that they had to outsmart her. He wanted like physical fights for a final battle. It's good either way.
No, I just wish they had at least one foe that they both would have to jump.
Oh, they both had to jump.
Like, they both just had to.
They never jumped nobody.
Like, let's say they did one scene with Juggernaut where they both just did some shit on
they
Juggernaut.
didn't jump nobody.
They were jumping people in the sense of when they were fighting through groups of people. I'm gonna grab his head. You slash it. This. But like, they didn't fight nobody that was on their tier level of threat where they had to be like, all right, like a Juggernaut type character. Like, I wish they would have, like, you know, sized him up a little bit. But even when they showed Juggernaut and when they showed what's the other bit? Juggernaut, and it was another person they showed that was on their tier level. They didn't really do much. Yeah. But yeah, what you rate the movie? Because we gotta end this quick.
Yeah, Cameron, I'm gonna end it. Honestly, a Marvel movie in a long time, I'd probably give it about a 9, bro. Probably give it about a 9. The only way I would have given it a 10 is if they did an X-Men Avengers anything, but it didn't happen. They can say that for another time. It's gonna come. Secret Wars most likely. But yeah, about a 9 for me.
I'm gonna give this movie a 8.8, 8.9, really around that 9 thing.
I give him a 9.
It would have gave it would have. The only reason why I'm saying it gave me a 9, it didn't give me a full 9 or a 10, is because I didn't go through this whole movie feeling like a threat. Like, I didn't feel like they were gonna die. So that to me kind of left me out of it because I just knew like they weren't finna die. And then the point that they could have died, in my brain, I said they die this way to me is lame. Cause they try to explain like this little energy if you touch this. And I'm like, these niggas are still past that. Like they can get hit by photon rays and all this shit and survive. So like that's kind of what killed me out of it is that they didn't really have a threat to me. Cause I already knew they couldn't really go crazy with Xavier's sister in that way. So I was just like, all right. But other than that, all the cameos, everything that I've seen from it was just superb. It's probably one of my favorite movies since I've seen since Civil War.
Yeah, probably one of my favorite Marvel. It definitely jumped up on the list.
Yeah.
Probably right under Endgame.
So
yeah. That was great, man. That was our Deadpool Wolverine review, man. Go see that, man.
Yeah. So yeah, this is gonna be it from us. Hey, like this video, really helps. Throw in some comments. Let us know if y'all seen the movie and what y'all think about it and all that good stuff. And subscribe to the channel if you new, cause we at this shit and we ain't never gonna stop this shit. So goddamn, this is J&J Reacts. We out.